and just anything, period, right? So even if you look at something like healthy food, right, you get certain foods are more healthy than other foods. But even if you overdo it with the healthy foods, you can get too much, right? Or vitamins, like vitamin supplements, they're good to help supplement the nutrition that maybe you're not getting from the food. But you can overdo it on the vitamins to the point where it gets to the point of toxicity, right? You begin to poison yourself with the different vitamins. So anything can be in excess. That's what we don't want. One of the other things that it mentioned as far as relating to healthy self-esteem is creativity, right? One of the things that I always tell you people, right, is that there is nobody that I can think of, a group that I could think of that is more creative than you people, right? And by you people, I mean those of you that have been formerly incarcerated, gang members, drug addicts, all this shit, right? People who the rest of society may frown upon, right? But more creative than anybody, because you always figure out how to accomplish whatever it is that you're trying to do. Now, unfortunately, you don't do it when you're on some good shit, right? So when you're on some positivity, trying to get your life together, get in a new career and stuff, we somehow lose all that creativity. But when we're trying to get high, we're trying to commit a crime, or, we're just doing time or whatever, we're extremely creative, right? And the things that we're able to, literally just create some shit, right? Look at the different things that you do to, let's say, make, again, tattoos, right? Just constructing a tattoo gun. And there are various different ways that people have put together a tattoo gun when it comes to prison. Now here, you just go on Amazon, buy a fucking kit, and you just get going, right? But in prison, you have to, you ain't even supposed to have it in the first place. So now you got to create it. So you didn't figure it out that, okay, I can take this motor that makes this Walkman spin the tape, right? I could take this motor and use it as an engine for a tattoo gun, or I could take this motor out of this pair of clippers, right, and turn it into a motor for a tattoo gun. I could take this ink pen, right, that ran out of ink, and use it as a barrel for the tattoo gun. I can use baby oil or chest pieces or whatever, and get the soot to put it together with either shampoo, toothpaste, whatever, to stir it up to make ink for my tattoos, right? So you figure out all of these different things, including having, putting speed controls, using the volume to make a speed control for your tattoo gun, so you can do, because obviously certain things you do is going to be at different speeds. And if it's going too fast, you're just going to cut the person up and it's not going to lay the ink. So, but you figured all this out, right? In an environment where these tools are not allowed, right? They're not even allowed in there, but you figured out a way not only to get it in there, but to create it, to make it, right? But then we get out here and we forget all about that. And again, we can use the example of knives, right? We fucking make knives. We make shit to stab people out of anything, right? From stingers to fucking toothbrushes to fucking razors. Anything you can think of, we've figured out a way to turn that shit into a weapon. And I know a lot of people will say, well, that's all just negative, right? I'm like, yeah, maybe it is, but it's still creative, because you still had to use your brain to figure out how to get this done in an environment where you're not supposed to be doing it, right? So you figured out a way to have what you're not supposed to have under armed security, right? You figured out a way to do this. So again, I like to think outside the box. That's creativity, right? You had to do something. That same brain power that you used in order to do those things, right, can be used on some more positive stuff, right? It's just, again, just changing the narrative or changing the ultimate objective of what we're trying to accomplish. but you still have the same brain. You still have the same creativity. The problem is that we haven't practiced doing things out here in the community, doing the positive things. So we don't feel comfortable with that. We feel more comfortable doing things that are, wrong or criminal activity, right? We feel comfortable doing that because that's what we know. But as the more we begin to practice doing things in the correct way, it'll become more second nature, right? And so I just want to point out the fact that you already have this creativity that it's talking about here. So on creative, it says creative persons listen to and trust their inner signals. That's that intuition that we talked a little bit about yesterday. More than the average. Their minds are less subservient to the belief system of others, at least in areas of their creativity. So again, their minds are less subservient to the belief system of others, meaning that you don't, not only do you not necessarily subscribe to the common narrative of what they're putting out in society, and like I said, you don't just go along with it, but even in your mind, right, there's like your mind, you don't allow your mind to get twisted by that and to start trying to push things that you know to be some bullshit, right? Just because everybody else happens to be doing it and saying it. They are more self-sufficient. They may learn from others and be inspired by others, but they value their own thoughts and insights more than the average person does. And so, like the other thing that we were talking about a little earlier, in one, I think it was at the 8 o'clock, somebody mentioned, no, excuse me, it was at the at 7 o'clock, an individual mentioned the fact that when we're talking about humility, the fact, talking about as far as the meaning that it referred to someone who remained teachable, right? They left themselves open to be able to be teachable from another individual, right? And that kind of goes along with to what it's saying here. It says studies tell us that creative people are far more likely to record interesting ideas in a notebook, spend time nursing and cultivating them, put energy into exploring where they might lead. They value the productions of their mind. So again, we'll look at these people, right? So we look at these billionaires, right? So you have people who are exceptionally wealthy, right? Millionaires, billionaires, and such. And a lot of us, we sit around and complain about them and jealous of them because of all the shit that they have. But the problem is that they work for that shit, right? They earned it. However they earned it, they earned the things that they have, right? And what we don't understand and we don't really take into consideration is that we could be there too, right? There's nothing preventing us from having what they have other than the effort that we put into it. Now, yes, some people will have more connections than other people, right? But how do you get connections? You go out and you meet fucking people. But what do we want to do? We want to stay within our own little circle, right? We get our own little small circle of friends and associates or family members, and we stick to that little circle. Anybody that thinks different from us, that's them. They, them, right? They even talk about that pronoun bullshit now. But that's them, right? That's the other side, the other group. But and we want to surround ourselves with people that think like us. The problem with surrounding ourselves with people that think about like us is, again, the problem of what we always complain about: the rich get richer and the poor get poor, right? And again, the rich get richer and the poor get poor is because of this, the mindset that we have. Poor people perpetuate a poor way of thinking, right? Rich folks perpetuate a rich way of thinking. Like they think about things that are going to bring them money. We think about shit, ways to spend money, right? And I'm not just talking about other people. I'm not just standing up here high and mighty talking about somebody else. I've done that. I'm talking about me, right? I've wasted a lot of fucking money, right? A lot of money I've wasted. And I'm still fucking paying for it now, right? Huge freaking credit card debts and shit, still paying that shit off, right? And I was making a little more money, so I felt like, I can do this. And I was able to do it easily because I was making a little more money. But the stupid thing is that I'm still not, let's say, have my financial foundation, right? So before I, regardless of what I'm making, before I go out and waste money, or before I went out and wasted all the money, I should make sure that the foundation is solid first, because anything's subject to happen. You can get sick, you can get injured, you may not be able to work, you may not be able to do the same things, you may lose certain contracts, which is exactly what happened with the contract thing, right? And so now I'm operating with a quarter less income, paying the same fucking bills, right? So, and can I complain? Oh, the racists, the man, the government, all this bullshit? No, right? My dumb ass made certain decisions that caused me to be in a certain position. Now, I'm still, getting by, still able to pay it all off. However, right, things would be much better had I not wasted the money. But I was operating, this is after I'm getting out and not on the same criminal thinking, but I was still on some poor folk thinking, right? And that's what we do. We'll get shit like fucking nice ass fucking car. We ain't got no place to stay. Right, but we got a nice ass fucking $100,000, $200,000 car. Basically, a car that costs the price of a house, right? Rolling around in that shit. And again, I'm not hating on the person that gets it, but the problem again, if you don't have any way to stay, where's your priorities, right? Or we'll take a car and we do all the shit that we do to fix it up and make it nice. Again, everybody likes to have nice stuff, right? Cool. But we devote all that money to those things, but what are we investing in ourselves, right? What are we investing towards a business, right? A lot of us, we complain about how much money we're making, not making enough money and stuff like that. But guess what? I need to continue to put myself in a position to be able to make more money by whether educating myself or learning whatever trade that I need to learn to put me in a better position in life, right? It ain't going to come from me just sitting up complaining about what other people have and what they're not giving me, right? Even though sometimes it seems, here we go again. Can I call you back out the group? Okay. All right. Bye. So again, we sit and we'll complain about things, but complaining is not going to pay the bills. And I say that it's just a waste of time. And when I talk to people about it, I'm like, man, I ain't worried about that. I ain't gonna play the victim. I ain't gonna complain. And they'll talk to me about like I'm letting somebody off the hook, right? You just letting them off the hook, man. We gotta make these motherfuckers know. Like, letting who off the hook? If I sit there, I can sit there and complain. I can say, okay, I'm holding them accountable. What am I accomplishing? Like, what benefit am I getting? What benefit is coming to the community with me doing that, right? Nobody's getting any benefit from me complaining about it, right? Even if I do, and I will complain about some shit, right? I'm going to complain about it with a solution or with a possible solution, right? So I'm going to complain about some shit and talk about, okay, how can we resolve this issue? Or complain about it and say, okay, this is a problem that is keeping us or making us weak or keeping us weak, right? Like when I talk about the victim, what I consider as the victim mentality, right? I'll complain about that shit all the fucking time, right? I don't think a day goes by that I don't mention it in some way, shape, or form. But again, I'm mentioning it with the intention that people understand that it's not helpful. It is something that is making and keeping us weak, that it is not empowering, right? And a lot of times we'll talk about things that's empowering, and people got that word fucked up. We'll see these women on, like, again, Instagram, TikTok, or whatever, and little G strings or whatever, shaking their ass or whatever. And when you hear people talking about them, or they're talking about themselves, they'll say, yeah, because nowadays women are empowered. And I'm like, yeah, no, right? So you can go in there and shake your ass sometime. I want to watch you shake your ass sometime. But, right, you have to understand, people are going to have certain opinions about that, right? About what you're doing. Don't get mad when it's not a good opinion, right? Because again, you're going out there doing these things, shaking your head. Like, they got a thing now, they got a couple of girls that'll go out there, they'll be interviewing everybody, and their thing, they're like, kiss or slap, right? And that's what they say. They'll say kiss or slap. And so what it'll be, they'll either be wearing like a little bikini or like some Daisy Duke shorts with half of their ass cheeks hanging out. And kiss or slap means, do you want to like kiss them on the cheek or slap them on the ass, right? And whichever one you say, that's what you get to do, right? And so you kiss them on the cheek or you slap them on that. That's their whole fucking thing, right? They're going around, they're fucking making videos doing that. And you'll see dudes, some of them say kiss, some of them say slap, and they'll slap on the ass. You see a couple of dudes where they'll slap and grab a handful of ass and shit like that. She's like, oh, that was a slap, that was a grab or whatever, right? But you're out there doing this, right? And again, I don't think because you're doing this, it doesn't give anybody a right to, let's say, drag you somewhere and sexually assault you. Absolutely not. However, there's some fucking predators out there. You got some sick motherfuckers that are out there and you don't fucking know who they are, right? And you're putting yourself in this situation. You're making yourself vulnerable to these people, right? I mean, you're literally inviting them to do this, right? Because again, you're saying kiss or slap. You don't know what they're going to do, right? They might kiss or slap, or they might decide to shove their old fucking hand up in there, right? And you don't know. Because you got to think, you got people that sneak, right? They're hiding in fucking bushes, trying to get a chance to rub on some fucking ass. And you just out there asking them to do this shit, right? And so you don't know how that person's going to react. You literally invited that person to do that, right? So again, I don't think that they are given permission to be assaulted. And anybody that chooses to assault them, regardless of what they're doing, is wrong and should be held accountable by law. However, you still have to take responsibility for your actions, right? And then, people are going to get up there and, oh, you're victim blaming and all. Like, no, right? But you still have to be responsible. You still have to be able to protect yourself, right? At the very least, don't intentionally put yourself in harm's way, right? So if I go, motherfuckers are out there, let's say, shooting guns, or I know that they normally are shooting guns here, and I decide I want to walk in right in the middle of the path of their fucking gunfire, right? And then complain because I got shot. Like, get the fuck out of here, right? You knew motherfuckers were shooting, even if they had paused for a minute, right? Even when you go, like, even at the shooting range, right? You don't go down range or whatever to get your target